And what most men are grossly unaware of about women here in 2020 is that the most super attractive women, who are your 9s and 10s, have worked, are working, or plan to work in the spicy industry on some level. In layman's terms, most hot girls make money off of their sexual allure. A while back, I had a guy call into my show who asked us why we were so focused on women. Now, he didn't really want the answer to that question, because he was doing what passive-aggressive people do when they're afraid to be straight up with people, which is to make a statement by asking a question. Instead of saying, "I don't like Donovan's watch," they'll ask, "What is that monstrosity on his right wrist?" Another example would be someone asking me, "What does your mother think about you not dating black women?" when they really mean to say, "You should date black women because your mother is black." Any man who is afraid to make a bold statement and waters it down by asking it in the form of a question, rather than just saying what he thinks, is the kind of man who wonders why he's terrible with women, and this caller was just that. What he wanted to say was, "Hey guys, don't focus on women so much, they're not worth it." Now that discussion is for another day and time, but something he said later on in the conversation is what really got my attention, and it's when he said, "Well, I date nothing but 9s and 10s. Every so often, I'll get a caller or someone in the chat who claims he's King Dingaling and tells everyone he doesn't mess with anything but 9s and 10s. And 124% of these guys are full of you-know-what. If they really were dating nothing but 9s and 10s, they certainly wouldn't be in someone's chat or calling into shows. How do I know this? Men who only date super hot girls don't have time to be telling everyone they date super hot girls. The reason for this is that men like this are at the top of their game in every way. They're in great shape, they probably make great money, they're socially dominant, and they're always busy doing something, building a business, working on a project, maybe on a rock climbing expedition or something outdoors. The list goes on and on. Yes, there are men who only date 9s and 10s. They do exist. There aren't many relative to the total number of men on the planet, but they're out there. But these men don't have time to be in a chat for 2 hours bragging about how hot their harems are. They don't have time to be calling some random podcast talking about how he only dates hot girls. So the guy that called my show and said that was obviously lying. However, what I'd like to focus on are the men who say they only date hot girls who aren't your top 20%ers. The average Joes walking around who are otherwise unimpressive in most ways. They're a B- in looks, money, social status, the way they dress, and their game level. These are the guys that make up the biggest percentage of the pool of men available to women. These are the guys who wonder why 80% of women compete for the top 20% of men and have no idea that a man who's an A+ at one thing will date and sleep with better looking women than a man who's a B- at everything. If a bottom 80%er, which is an average guy, says, "I only date 9s and 10s, he is either lying or he is paying. There are very few men who only date hot girls who aren't lying or paying. And these are the men who understand women on a molecular level because of their extensive experience with them. These are your top level players. But the average bottom 80%er walking around who doesn't have much experience with women, who claims he only dates hot girls, is either a man who can't get laid or he's a customer. Now, I want to be clear here, guys. I will never judge any man for paying a woman for bedroom fun. Pay for play in the bedroom is the most authentic relationship there is. The man isn't giving her money unless she gives it up, and she's not giving it up unless he pays her the money. Believe it or not, relationships are exactly the same way. The only difference is that there's more pomp and circumstance in the form of her being nice, feminine, obedient, and a good girlfriend or wife. On the man's side, he is the provider, protector, and primary breadwinner. No matter how much we like to think that our relationships with women aren't anything like the relationship between a working girl and a customer, they absolutely are. Women base their long-term romantic decisions primarily on a man's ability to take care of her financially, while we as men base our romantic decisions primarily on a woman's physical attractiveness. And the working girl and customer arrangement proves this ironclad fact. How does this prove it? I'll tell you. There are no broke customers and there are no grossly unattractive high-end working girls. Otherwise, the industry wouldn't exist. Now, the working girl market is under the umbrella of the male pleasure industry. And what most men are grossly unaware of about women here in 2020 is that the most super attractive women, who are your 9s and 10s, have worked, are working, or plan to work in the spicy industry on some level. In layman's terms, most hot girls make money off of their sexual allure. And keep in mind that when I say the male pleasure industry, I'm talking not just about exotic pole dancers, escorts, call girls, and adult film actresses. I'm also talking about cam girls. Instagram models, girls who have YouTube channels where their body is the cash cow. If a woman makes money with her body in a sexual way, whether intercourse is involved or not, she is a sex worker, plain and simple. And the hard truth about today's women is that if they're an 8, a 9, or a 10, there's a very good chance that they're monetizing their beauty and attractiveness in some way, shape, or form. Now, there's nothing wrong with women working in the pleasure industry. And I'm not being facetious here, I'm being 100% honest. We can talk all day about how the quality of women has taken a massive nosedive over the last few decades, which is absolutely true. But believe it or not all women are meant to be in relationships. Not all women are meant to be wives or mothers. Some women are just born to give men pleasure, and I'm not saying that to insult or besmirch these women, but it's true. Now, there are some attractive women out there who are absolutely legit nymphomaniacs. They have a high hookup drive, and there isn't any one man who can keep her satisfied enough to be sleeping with just him. And if they like fooling around so much, why wouldn't she get paid for doing it? We always say that doing something you love for a living is a great life, and I am living proof of that. Well, a nympho who loves hooking up with a lot of different men may as well get paid for it. I'm not hating on that. There are also some attractive women who genuinely enjoy giving men pleasure. Yes, guys, these women do exist. They're attractive, they're very generous in bed, and not concerned with their satisfaction. They find satisfaction in satisfying men between the sheets. And if they love satisfying men that much, they may as well get paid for it. And then there are attractive women who don't have any skills, and the only way they can make a living is off of their attractiveness. And if you can't make money off of anything but your looks, use what the creator gave you and make a living. Again, nothing wrong with that at all. What men need to understand is that a woman's most valuable assets are her youth and beauty. Yes, there are women who have other attributes and put them to good use, but they know that their youth and beauty are their two most valuable assets. We can hate on them all we want to, but this is the way it's been since the dawn of time. Everything from housewives to call girls and all of the spicy workers in between, females have always had to use their looks to get by as a matter of survival. Obviously, they use their looks in different ways and to varying degrees, but men pay top dollar to have fun with the best-looking call girls, and men of means want the best-looking women to be their wives and girlfriends. This is why women are so focused on the way they look, spicy worker or not. Attractive women who work in the male pleasure industry are cashing out early, which means they don't play the long game and marry young for a secure future. But they understand that sex sells, and sex with beautiful women is always for sale. Whether she's a working girl, a housewife, or an adult film actress, women use their sexuality to leverage resources. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's security, sometimes it's a good life, or all three if they marry young. The price they pay is also very different, even though they're all using the same currency, which is their allure. And the price they pay is directly correlated with how quickly they realize a return. The trophy wife, for example, she pays the lowest price, so long as she marries young. She's exchanged her most valuable assets for long-term security and a lifestyle befitting a young, pretty woman. She doesn't suffer mentally or physically because her lifestyle is sustainable long-term, which means that she doesn't suffer the physical drawbacks that women in the spicy industry are subject to. Exotic pole dancers, another example. They pay a high price, but the transactions are strictly business. The man pays the money, she takes her clothes off, rubs her oobs in his face, shows him a good time, and that's that. The physical and psychological price she pays is substantial, but comparatively low compared to working girls or adult film actresses where intercourse is actually involved. So in layman's terms, as far as the math is concerned, the more upfront money and resources an attractive woman gets, the higher the price she pays up front. The trophy wife's payment is spread out over a long period of time, because her return is paid back over a long period of time in the form of marriage. An exotic pole dancer's payment is a little steeper, because she realizes a quicker return up front in the form of a cash payment. Escorts, working girls, and adult film actresses pay a very steep price, but they get a very high return and it comes very quickly. So again, I reiterate, there is absolutely nothing wrong with working in the spicy industry if you're a woman. I do not pass judgment on these women, I don't point the finger at them, and I don't categorize them as morally bankrupt. They're simply doing what they're doing to make a living, either because they want to or they have to. Male pleasure industry workers get no shade from me. That said, I have absolutely zero tolerance for male pleasure industry workers who then complain that they can't find a relationship or a job because of their career choice. These women love to talk about how there's nothing wrong with what they're doing and that they're simply fulfilling a market need. And they're right. But then they turn right around and complain about how terrible their lives are because of their time as a male pleasure industry worker. Brie Olson immediately comes to mind. She actually used to date Charlie Sheen, but a few years back, she was complaining that men don't want her and that companies won't hire her because she did adult films. You can't have it both ways, Brie. You can't enjoy the benefits of having bedroom fun with the most well-endowed men in the world, but then expect men who are aware of your career choice to want to wife you up. Now, there are many obvious reasons that men of value do not commit to former male pleasure industry workers, but one reason that doesn't get as much attention are the economical reasons as it pertains to fooling around. And stay with me here, guys. Let me explain. A man who is aware that a woman has done adult films or worked as an escort or a call girl doesn't want to commit resources to her. Now, he'll definitely sleep with her, but outside of that, he's not committing anything else. And that economic reason? Well, she's already cashed out. She's already been paid. She's already gotten the maximum amount of money and resources that her prime youth and beauty could get her according to her market value. In other words, he's not going to give money or resources to a woman who's already cashed out. It doesn't make fiscal sense. She'd be double dipping as far as he's concerned. This is why high-value men are always hesitant to commit to banana gobblers. The more men she's been with, the less she's worth, and women know this. They act like they're surprised that nobody wants to buy the Lamborghini with 400,000 miles on it. Oh, they'll rent it for a day or two, but they're not buying that vehicle. They're not investing in something that's already been driven that much. They want a car with maybe 5 to 7 miles on it. In other words, a car that's only been driven to make sure it runs properly. A lot of men would be very surprised if they knew just how many attractive women have done adult films, amateur or otherwise. Guys are always shocked when they find out that a woman they've been seeing used to be a call girl or an escort or did some sort of work in that industry. Now, it didn't used to be this way. Women who worked in the industry were few and far between. But in this day and age, more and more attractive women are monetizing their beauty in some way, shape, or form. When men who are unaware of this find out that his girl used to work in the spicy industry, they are absolutely dumbfounded. You get a lot of guys out here dating extremely attractive women, the 9s and 10s of the world, and they're always shocked when they find out they used to make money using their body and attractiveness.